Everybody knows a do as I say, not as I do person, somebody who never quite lived up to all the things that they wanted to be and talked about being, and somehow miraculously, it is never their fault. I believe that the people now that talk about wanting to break generational traumas and generational curses as adults are people who were raised by somebody like this. Hi, I'm Aubrey. I am a 25-year-old single mom living with her parents, and I made a promise to myself and my daughter that I would work with the cards that I've been dealt to create something beautiful. One aspect of that is making videos like these to connect with you. Generational curses are such a broad thing to try to digest. Oftentimes, they fall into some main categories: abuse, poverty, addiction, neglect. When people say that they want to break these curses for themselves or for their children, I believe that they mean it, but oftentimes when I hear people say that, I look at them and it's not necessarily the type of person that is living a lifestyle that would suggest that they are working to make those changes in their life. I think that people just believe that they'll be given an opportunity to suddenly break this generational curse and it'll just come to them naturally, and in that moment they'll just all of a sudden the light bulb will turn on and they'll just know the right things to say and the right things to do, and all of a sudden no more generational curse. The thing that I think a lot of people fail to realize is that those generational curses and traumas created you. They were prevalent in your life when your brain was being formed. And in order to actually break them and actually work through them, you need to do a level of self reflection that is really intensely uncomfortable. I believe the true way to break generational curses is by living as though you are the version of yourself you believe you would be if that curse and that trauma never existed in your life. When I found out I was pregnant, I was terrified. I know that there's a lot of people on the internet, a lot of couples that post their honest, unfiltered reactions to finding out that they were pregnant, where the pregnancy test flips, and a lot of emotions can come with that. And if those videos are not joyful and happy, a lot of people can come for them in the comments. Let me be the first person to say that finding out you're pregnant can be terrifying, borderline petrifying. You can, all at the same time, mourn the loss of the life that you were living, fear the life that you're getting ready to live, and also be grateful for the blessing that is pregnancy. My pregnancy forced me to really look in the mirror and identify the parts of myself that needed to be laid to rest. I also had to identify the parts of myself that I wanted to strengthen and harden and bring with me into motherhood. That process of serious self reflection and refinement brought me to the conclusion that there's really three main pillars that I want to enforce in my daughter as she grows up. These pillars influence every single action that I take every day. I believe the last one even speaks to somebody who's not a parent or who's not expecting a child and can serve as a really great reminder to anybody, no matter what season you are in life. When a baby is born, they're born with a very basic intuition. This intuition tells them that they need food, warmth, comfort, and safety. Very quickly, their bodies start to associate all of those needs with a person, typically their mother or their father or their set of core people, their caregivers. Their intuition then quickly tells them, you need all of these things and this person will give it to you. And that very naturally progresses into their intuition telling them that that person is a model and a pillar of confidence and safety and competence. This leads me to the first quality that I'm enforcing in my daughter, which is self trust. The ability to trust her intuition, the ability to trust her internal monologue. As a parent, you are teaching your child whether or not to trust themselves with every action or inaction that you make. Showing up for them and showing up for yourself every day, no matter what, is what empowers them to say, see, I knew it. See, I was right. I knew that my mom was this pillar of confidence. I knew that when I cried, somebody would come to me. I knew that when I was hungry, I would be fed. Having this concrete sense of self and self identity and intuition brings me into my next point, which is empowering your child to choose quality in their life. This means quality in the foods that they eat, the way that they move their body, the company that they keep, the hobbies that they have, their self care routines. Having a concrete identity and an unwavering confidence in yourself and a trust in the voice that lives in the back of your mind is what creates young, empowered people. They don't even sniff at the scent of something that's going to bring them outside of themselves, something that's not worthy of them, because they know their power, they know their core identity, and they know what they deserve. One example that I see of this a lot is when an adult talks about their child and they say something to the tune of, In their romantic relationships, they always pick the broken birds, or they're a fixer. They always pick the people that they need to fix. And I would always challenge that person to think, in that child's childhood, when they were really young, was there one of two scenarios happening? The first being that somebody that was directly influencing them, a direct influence of power, told them or inadvertently told them that they were only worthy of being loved if they proved themselves, that through actions that they could take, they would receive love. The other possible scenario is that this was modeled in the relationships around them, in the messaging that they can only be loved when the person is sober, that they're only loved when they're nice to their sibling, that they're only loved when they do their chores, that they're only loved when the family is not in financial distress. If that was true of somebody's childhood, as an adult, it doesn't matter what career they have, what physical belongings they have, what car they drive. They are always constantly fighting with this internal dialogue that tells them that they need to prove something to the world around them in order to receive respect, in order to receive love. It is no wonder that they are finding these people in love that they need to fix. This blends in with my last point. Far too many children are raised in a state of anxiety, in an environment where they need to be really intensely attuned to the emotions of the adults around them. They're told at a very young age that they need to abandon their own needs to prioritize the needs of the adults around them in order to avoid reactions. Although I could create an entire series on this topic, and I probably will, I will sum this up in just one simple sentence for the sake of this video, and that is: empower your children to never leave their own corner of the ring, to never waver in their self belief and self confidence. You do this by handling adult emotions like an adult, and by giving your child things to process that is developmentally appropriate for them to process. As a parent, you have a requirement to delicately dance the line between removing obstacles from your child's life so that they don't suffer unnecessarily, while also allowing some obstacles to remain so that they're challenged to work through them. And in the process, they are empowered and they create that sense of self confidence. I certainly don't have everything figured out yet, but what I do know is that creating these videos and this community and interacting with people like you is helping me to align with my purpose. What you're watching on this channel and what you're watching in all of the content that I create is a real time transformation, real time growth. I have already physically moved locations with my daughter. I will be physically moving probably many more times to come. I am emotionally and physically growing a lot as a woman, and I'm documenting all of it. Be sure to subscribe so that you can follow along on this journey. And if you join me now, you will truly be able to say that you've been there with me from the start. I'll see you next time, and until then, be kind to yourself.